Hi everyone. This is Fahim, the CEO of Edge AI. So we are a Melbourne-based AI governance startup. We provide all kinds of AI governance and AI audit related services to small businesses. So yeah, if you have any inquiries about how you govern your AI stack or how do you want to automate some of your um, legacy business processes by using artificial intelligence, please reach out to us. This is going to be a small webinar where we'll discuss about how we can use the audit tool that's been created for especially for small businesses as well as individuals who are still trying to explore artificial intelligence or still there and still in the discovery phase. They haven't used all the tools that are available for us. Um, yeah, so this is the audit website, um, audit.scalehai.com.au. Um, as soon as you log into the website, you see that some of the information about how long it will take for anyone to perform the audit. So typically, we have seen that the audit can be done in 5 minutes. It covers six domains, specifically designed for small businesses. So there are a lot of academic papers have been studied for coming up with these questions, as well as the tools that are being suggested at the end of the audit are picked by an artificial intelligence algorithm, which is which performs its checks daily. So yeah, and at the end of the survey, you would get a comprehensive score on how much advanced or um, your AI tech stack is, or what are your weaknesses in terms of adopting these AI tools, right? So we are not just going to suggest basic generic tools like ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude. We are going to suggest specific tools that are actually useful for small businesses for getting outcomes, right? I personally speaking, I felt 2026 was the year where we were exploring AI, where we are building our knowledge and building our tech stack. And 2027 onwards will be the year where we would get the ROI for our investments in artificial intelligence. So if you are a company or a small business who are still hesitant about what AI tools you would use in your day-to-day operations, or you're exploring or you want to create a business case so that you can forward to your CEO and get funds for installing these tools, you can use this audit and given give him or her some points so that they're more confident in investing on this tool as well, right? So if we go through the website, right? So your business is leaking time and money. So that's for sure, right? And industry-wide study tells us that 72% of the work that are still being done are manual. And on average, 23 hours of hours are getting wasted every week performing these work using legacy tech stack, right? Um, Let me rephrase it. I won't say tech stack. It's just any tools, right? Even Excel or Word document, right? So, and if you look at annually, you would see that there is an annual loss of $47,000 by not utilizing AI. And these numbers are not coming from like ether. We have done studies with our vendors as well as we have went through a number of academic papers, and that's what's very common between small businesses. So we are only talking about SMBs here. We're not talking about enterprise. We're not talking about um, MSPs or anything. We're just talking about small businesses, right? So there is a small calculator in the audit website as well, where you would see how much money you are going to save if you use some of these AI tools, right? So, for example, let's say you have 5 employees in your small business, okay? And average hourly rate, I would say, let's say something like $40, okay? And usually, what we are seeing in terms of trends that most small businesses are losing 5 to 6 hours a week by not utilizing AI. Like, even if, say, you are crafting an email or going through someone's calendar, right, and want to create a meeting with the individual, it will take a few minutes. But if all these works are um, aggregated, and at the end of the week, you would see that you're almost wasting 5 hours or 6 hours, right? So this calculator would give you that if this is the case for your small business, you could actually save $52,000 by utilizing some of the tools that you would come up after performing the audit, right? So that's that. So we audit across 6 key business areas. Okay. So these 6 areas are the ones that we picked, which are very, very closely correlated with small businesses and operations and processes. So that's your daily BAU stuff. Um, Marketing and engagement, that's a very important part for small businesses. Sales and CRM, finance and accounting, HR and people, as well as data and analytics. So all the questions that you would see in the audit are predominantly based on these pillars that we have predefined for us. So if you scroll down a bit, you would see how this audit would work, right? So there are only three simple steps that you have to perform in order to see the AI automation potential for your small businesses. So the number one would be to actually do the audit, right? So that's number one. And number two, you would be given a comprehensive PDF results of your score in terms of the AI adoption in your business. And number three is that you would actually get a um, prioritized action plan, right? And that you can use for going from there. If you want to implement one or two tools out of the tools that are suggested or not, right? And there is another thing. So the entire audit is cost around US dollar 49.99. So this is a limited time bonus, and this is just the introductory price. I'm pretty sure we will not be able to keep this price, but yeah, since it's in a early stages, we are keeping it at that price. And another great thing is that for limited time, once you purchase the audit, there is a potential for you to arrange a 15 minutes one-on-one gap assessment consulting call with the team. I will be there as well sometimes, and some of the other associates would be there. But yeah, for a limited time, once you purchase the audit, you can actually have a 15 minutes one-on-one gap assessment consultation with our SMEs who would suggest you what are your weak points in terms of the 6 pillars and which tools can help you rapidly to get a better score in that domain, right? So that's for a limited time. So what would you do is basically if you press start audit here, so that's a pre-built one. I would actually, maybe I will have to this, go to a new page. And once you go across the website, it's a very simple website. We try to keep it simple for everyone. And you just press hit start audit, right? So then you have this landing page and where should we send your report, right? That's the email address that we would be using for pretty much communicating with our customers who have purchased the audit, or if this audit leads to further interactions and they want us to go and build their tool, they can use this email as well. Or they can obviously reach out to us. I'll give the email address here. Maybe I'll keep it open. New. So contact at scale edgeai.com. Yeah, so that's the email that you can um, send any information or queries after the webinar. Cool. So let's say you want to do the audit. So I would come here and let's say we would say rockyM@gmail.com. That's your email. So then you would hit continue to payment. Okay. So here then you see that yeah, so the for a limited time there is a 15-minute one-on-one gap assessment consultation to discuss your results, vendor selection, and implementation resources. Um, so you can pay using PayPal or you can pay using credit card. Um, the choice is yours. Say, for instance, okay, you don't want this email, right? You want maybe you want it to be another email. So yeah, you can just press this and say here, Mario Luigi at gmail.com. Okay. So you can do the audit in that name as well. So once you hit that, you would press PayPal, and you can pay using PayPal, right? Other option is obviously you can go the credit card options, and as soon as you pay, you would get your uh, audit page. So think of it, you have paid, and what happens next is this. You get directly access to the audit page, right? So let's take a deeper look here. So you see that the six topics are here, the domains or the pillars that we had discussed earlier, and you would be answering the questions regarding the status of your business, and you would get a comprehensive score at the end, right? So say, for example, how do you currently handle repetitive document processing, invoices, contracts, and forms, right? So if it's entirely manual, paper or manual data entry, so you would pick this, right? Then other options are some templates, but still mostly manual, right? So these um, options have we haven't come up with it. We have done a couple of research on how SMBs are using AI in the fields, and that's why these questions are actually part of those studies. So if you see fully automated with AI document processing, right? Say for instance, you pick this one. So for this question, you would get a very high score, right? So for the sake of it, let's just say entirely manual, and then say I'll just do a speed run and pick randomly. But for you, you would pick whatever appropriate actions that you use, right? So say you use Calendly, you'd use that, then go to next. So now in marketing, so how do you create marketing contents like blog posts, social media, ad copy? Maybe you use AI for drafts, and then there's a human in the loop who performs the editing, right? So you would pick that. So let's just speed run it again. Um, yeah. So what would happen is that you would perform this audit. Let's just do it anyways. Um, yeah, assisted. So you would be answering all appropriately for your domain and that how you perform the activities. So how do you handle budget versus actual variance analysis? So no formal budgeting process. For small businesses, this might be true, right? So go next. So you would do all the audits appropriately, and then what would happen is by the end of the audit, you would get the results, right? So see results. Okay. So after you've done the audit, you can see that the score that you have gotten out of 100 is 37. And there are a couple of insights here as well. So your AI readiness audit. So you are an AI beginner. We just picked randomly, so that's fine. Your overall score of 37 reflects 29 gaps, including 8 high priority opportunities. Start with the top gaps below to unlock immediate time and cost savings, right? So you would get a chart and a breakdown of all your scores as well. So from here, if you have done uh, appropriately, depending upon the actual way that you use AI tools, you would get a very clear pictures of the categories where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are, right? So here we can see that sales are pretty good, right? Compared to finance. So my personal suggestion would be that you don't want to implement AI all at once, right? So you would pick the lowest, the weakest link. So in this case, maybe finance, right? And then you would go deep into how to improve that score. Then if you see here, there's an algorithm behind this audit as well, and it is going to give you the top priority actions that you need to take for improving your scores, right? So if you see here, the number one, so these are your highest impact gaps. Start here for the biggest ROI, right? So number one is document processing automation. There's a high gap here. So estimated savings, you can save at least 15 to 25 hours per week, which is like 20,000 to $4,000 a month. And start immediately with high impact automation. Create an automation like document processing pipeline, auto extract, classify, and route documents, right? And not only that, so the tool is going to suggest you a roadmap, right? So it's gonna suggest you these tools that you can actually go and implement in order for you to improve the score in this domain. So for example, say ROSM, right? So ROSM, and if you hover over it, you can see that it gives a small description of the tool as well. So intelligent document processing for invoices and forms. So if I press here, it's actually going to take you to the website as well, Rostam, right? And then you can read more about it and ask for a free demo and see if it's a good tool for you. If you don't like Rostam, right, then you can go to DocuParser, right, and check that out and see if that fits your business or your budget. So you get all this top priority actions given you directly after the audit, and it's also going to give you, so this is the top priority actions that you should address as soon as possible for improving your score in the weak links. And then not only that, you would get a detailed gap analysis of how you can do better in some of the spaces, right? So that's pretty good. So I'm not going to go through everything, but what I want to show is actually one thing that we have done for one of our customers that came up after they've purchased the audit, and they had a discovery call of 15 minutes, and they were having very how should I say, they were experiencing a lot of issues when it came to invoicing, right? So I don't want to disclose the name of the business, but it's in the trade business. But what the issue that they were facing is they had to purchase a lot of um, inventory or equipment from a different vendors, right? So they would get invoices in, sometimes they would get invoices via email, sometimes they would get invoices via paper, sometimes they would get invoices via text, right? So managing all those invoices, they had to perform, like maybe at the end of the week, they would go through all the invoices and they would store it somewhere, and later maybe use in an accounting software like zero or something like that. But they were facing the grunt of work was like manual data entry of the invoices from all these different formats, right? PDFs, JPEG, PNG, then different formats, right? So after our discovery call, um, we gave them a solution. Oh, okay. And one more thing I wanted to discuss is here is what you can download your report. So if you press save as report, um, you can actually download your report as well. So yeah, so this is the report that we just generated after you went through the audit, and you can save that and uh, you can actually use that as a business case for uh, providing a short descript for short presentation for your CEO or your business owner for actually investing in AI and show them that you actually have the numbers backed up so that you can tell them that you can save like you can clearly go and say, okay, I can save $2,000 to $4,000 in budget intelligence if I invest in one of these AI tools, right? And then you go in a discovery and find out what tools you want to use and maybe create a proof of concept for your business, right? But what I'm trying to say is this is not something that comes out of ether. You actually went through an audit process and you came up with some of the um, numbers and some of the data and some of the graphs and charts, and this is where your business is weak in, right? And this is where your business is strong in, and you can create a business case for investing in this tool and improve your overall um, capex, right? And sorry, opex. So that's what this auditing tool is about. So yeah, you can save that as a PDF. And like I said, for a limited amount of time, this is there are so many like I have like so many interactions coming in, so I have to stop this at some point. But for now, it's still there. 15 minutes one-on-one AI gap assessment. So what you would do is you would just go there and this is Calendly. You can pick one date and create a meeting with me for a 15 minutes one-on-one gap assessment. So coming back to the client that I was discussing. So yeah, they were having a lot of issues about invoices, right? So they engaged us. So they were happy with the audit and they said, we want to create a proof of concept. And um, what we did is we went to the uh, drawing board and we started to create a solution for them, right? So maybe I'll go through it a bit. So there are a couple of tools that are a bit technical, where I don't want to go too technical in this webinar, but this is the workflow that we build for our customer. So if I look at this workflow at a glance, which is any kind of invoices, regardless of the format, say it's PDF, say it's JPEG, say it's a normal paper, right? You can take a picture of that invoice and just send it as an attachment to an email. Okay. And then that's it. You don't worry about that invoice again. So then that invoice will come into our server, which we have set up, automation server, and then it's going to extract all those um, informations like total cost, your tax, and all this, the vendor number, the receipt number, the date, and it's going to save it in a Google Sheet. So at the end of the week, or maybe now fortnightly even, a subject matter expert of that business can go in and say, okay, the invoices are there and do their thing, right? Um, and if for some reason there is the attachment didn't come through or there's an issue in the flow, this workflow, we get immediately notified and then we go and say to the that specific tradesperson that say, hey, invoices that you had sent us. Can you send it again? It didn't come. So maybe I'll give you a live demo as well. So I have saved a couple of invoices. Say, for example, this one. This is like a Slack invoice, right? So just for showing you guys in the webinar, this is a Slack invoice that we'll use for testing. Underneath the hood, there are a couple of tools that we're using. We are predominantly using Landing AI. Um, that's the OCR. So OCR is what's so it's the optical character recognition. That's the algorithm or the terminology that's used for extracting information from your like documents. So before we show you the uh, before we show you the workflow, maybe I'll show you a small demo of actually what's happening here in the hood, underneath the hood. So if I go here, yeah. So this is one of the things that I was doing earlier, but let's upload a new file that Slack um, invoice. Okay. So the Slack invoice I'll upload here. That's the Slack invoice and it's parsing. Okay. So see how, um, so Landing AI is one of the most advanced OCR tools in the world right now. It's the owner is Andrew Ng. He's one of the most pioneers of this artificial intelligence movement. I'm pretty sure you know there's a company in China called Baidu. He's like he is the CEO of he was I think was the CEO of that company, and um, he's like the artificial intelligence guy in Silicon Valley. So this is created by him, Landing AI. So if you see, as soon as I uploaded this invoice, it's just a JPEG format. It's able to classify their um, the different containers, right? And then it's able to extract that information from the JPEG to actually write in text. So this is Markdown, and there's a JSON version as well, but that's not that's the algorithm behind the workflow, and I think they use algorithm called DPK for that. You can read more about it. So let me see, AI DPK. Um, yeah, you can read more about the landing AI here. But if I go back to the workflow, so we are going to send that Slack invoice to an email that we're monitoring using NA10, and then we would see that appear in the Google Sheets, right? So if I open the Google Sheets here, so this is the NA10 invoice Google Sheets. Let me delete this. I had done a test at today afternoon, so I'll just delete this row. Okay. Uh, cool. So this is the um, Google Sheets N8N invoice, and there's a lot of additional stuff that you have to enable Google API from Google Cloud. Um, where is it? API. Yeah, so you would enable the Google Sheets API, Google Gmail API, and Google Drive API. That's for specific to this workflow. So you don't have to know about that, but just FYI, and you can even see how many times the workflow has called the API from the Google Cloud Console, um, as well as even from Landing AI, you have you can see the interactions as well. So if I go back here, so usage, yeah, you can see here. So I actually did a test at So sorry, this is the one that we uploaded here in the playground, right? But yeah, what we would want to see is we would actually call it using API key, which is LLM PII, and we will call it from our automation workflow engine, right? So say, for example, someone got an invoice from Slack and they have to save it in Excel. They don't have to type anything. They don't have to worry about anything. All they will do, if it's a PDF, just attach it to an email and send it to a dedicated email address and just forget about that invoice. And then revisit that invoice at the end of the week to maybe move it to Zero or other accounting, MOIOB or other accounting accounting apps. And we're also thinking of actually integrating this part from so that it will actually go directly to MYOB or Zero rather than having the Google Sheets. But the customer wants it to be in Google Sheets for the time being, right? So that's that. So if I go here, so all I have to do is go to Gmail, compose email. Uh, yeah, then this is the email address that's being monitored by the workflow engine. So maybe I can say Slack invoice. Oh, sorry. So today is 4th July, 4th of July. Happy 4th of July, 4th July 2027. And that's it. I just have to attach that invoice. So Slack invoice. Cool. And I'll just send it. So I have stopped the cron job for now because this is a demo and I'm going to show it live. But what happens is it actually this workflow runs in a cron job, and yeah, so I would run individually the nodes. But yeah, let's see. So if I press execute here, so okay, so we see that. Um, okay, let me bring it up a bit. So Slack invoice JPG. So if I go here, we see that there is a attachment that has come through that email. And if I see view, that's the Slack invoice, right? Then if I go back here, if I close this uh, in the sent, that's the email that we had sent. And if I go to that email that we just sent to, so yeah, I just got the Slack invoice 4th of July 2027. So yeah, this worked. So what this node does is it's basically if there is no attachment here, it's going to send a notification to whoever has sent that invoice and say, hey, we haven't received your attachment. So maybe you missed the attachment. Can you send it back again? But since there is an attachment, if we execute this node, we see that it has gone to the true path, right? So there's a little bit of JavaScript code here. I don't want to go too deep here in this webinar, but yeah, so this is just think of it as that we are massaging the data a bit so that it's useful in the corresponding nodes, right? So if I just execute it here, and then this is where the landing AI API calls are being made. So there are a couple of stuff that we had to put here. So we'll just go ahead and say um, execute here as well. So now what it's doing is it's sending the invoice to the landing AI API. And see, we just saw it increased 36.8 credit to 39.8 credit. So we actually made an API call and Slack invoice JPG, and this is from the API key LLM PI. It's not from the playground, right? So, and we use 3 credits for that. So if I come back here, so that's the parsing, and then we have to do the extracting. So if you see here in the extraction node is this is after parsing, this is the results that we got from the invoice. And yeah, now we would do the exec extraction part. So now if we do extraction, it's going to send another query to Landing AI API for extracting the information from the invoice. Uh, let's go back. So now 40.3. So we have used some more tokens for extract. So if you see here, you can see that it has used ADE to parse tool for parsing and ADE to extract tool for extraction, right? So that's that. Now prepare the sheets field. So this is a preparation step for saving it in the Google Sheets. And so if we see here, you can actually view it in table, you can view it in schema, and you can view it in JSON, right? So let's stick with schema for now. So it was able to extract the in text from the JPEG image. So Slack, invoice number, invoice date, invoice due date, subtotal, total amount, and the currency US dollar. All of this were done perfectly, right? So let's close it. Before I execute this, let's go back and see the Google Sheets page. So let's do a refresh. Yeah, we don't see the Slack entry here yet. So let's go back and prepare the sheets. So okay, so in the sheets we were going to just populate Slack invoice number, supplier name, invoice number, invoice date, due date, subtotal, tax amount, total amount, and received date, as well as who sent that invoice and subject. Slack invoice 4th of July, right? So let's execute the last node. So that's done. Cool. So if I go here, it's output. Yeah, so that's the output. Now if I go back here, see, as soon as it did that, we see that line entry number 7. So if we maybe move it a bit. So here you see here, Slack, December 1st, 2023. Maybe I'll open the invoice as well. Okay, so invoice number is 1223113. Invoice number. Oh, there's supposed to be an invoice number here. Uh, I don't know why it put here December 1st. Maybe let me run it again. It's invoice number here. It's invoice number. Okay, let me see here. Invoice number, invoice date, due date, tax currency, invoice number. That's supposed to be right. Invoice date. See, that's the issue here. I put invoice date here. It should be invoice number. So just grab that, put it here. I'm pretty sure in the production workflow, um, it's working. This is just a demo workflow I created to test it, so it should be good. So that's it. Let me run it again. Cool. Let's do a restart. Yep. So you see, now if I open this, okay, so Slack, the invoice supplier is Slack, then invoice number is 1223113. So since there's a field that's different from the field that we had earlier, there are two entries now. But if, for example, you run it twice without changing anything, right? Um, it's going to override that entry. So since the invoice number was changed, so that's why that we have two entries here. I can just go ahead and delete this one. Yeah. Then invoice date, invoice due date, subtotal. Yeah, everything looks good. Um, okay. And the last item, what we would do is, if I go back to, if I go back to the email, sorry, too many tabs. Yeah. So the last step is pretty much it's going to give a star. So if I go back here, yeah, so it's going to star the email. Um, the reason we do this, and this is some kind of like a acknowledgement that this process has been done, and um, the invoice is now placed in the sheet, so that whoever had sent the invoice to the automation, they get a message as well. Invoice has been added to Google Sheets. So they know that the invoice has gone into the Google Sheets. If for some reason the automation didn't reach this step, right? So they can say, okay, I had sent that invoice and I didn't get an acknowledgement back. So they have the subject already in their sent email. So all they have to do is get a confirmation that, okay, did I get this invoice has been added to Google Sheets email back or not? If not, something has gone wrong, and they can reach out to the to us to fix that, right? So yeah, this is a small demo, and this has helped the business tremendously. They have reduced a lot of manual data entry kind of um, functionalities from their business. And when it comes to invoicing, anytime they get an invoice, they just take a picture or they just attach the PDF to an email and send to a dedicated email address, and then they're done. So yeah, hope this has been useful for you guys. If I go back to the audit page again, this please make sure to go ahead and look at this audit page, and if you're interested, it's just 49.99, a very small investment for finding out your AI gaps, right? So you can go ahead and purchase that, and for a limited amount of time get a one-on-one consultation with myself or any of the SMEs. And yeah, hope to catch you guys in another webinar. Thank you.